Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Two for Talking podcast. I'm your host, Corey Tusick. We've got comedian Joe Bartnick. I hope you checked him out at the Pittsburgh Improv last week. It sounds like there'll be more shows because it went pretty well from what I hear. But you can check out his latest tour dates at joebartnick.com. And as always, the great Josh Yohe with The Athletic. And guys, other than a nice win in Minnesota on Thursday, it was a pretty rough week for the Penguins. And it was capped off by a pretty brutal loss that saw Tristan Jarry kind of retreat into his net. Did he not, Josh?
Yeah, good day, gentlemen. I made a rookie mistake last night. At the end of the second period, the Penguins were so impressive through 40 minutes that I started to write my article. And I had it was flowing nice. Like just, praising the Penguins for what I thought was the signature performance in this incredible start to the season. What they did to the Maple Leafs in the first two periods, Joe, they outshot them 25-8. And I don't even think the game was that close. A dominant performance, and all of a sudden, in about a 6.5 minute span in the third period, everything changed. I'm not going to blame Jarry completely. Penguins made a lot of mistakes, but he also let in 4 goals and 11 shots. Just a terrible last 20 minutes for the Penguins.
Josh, it was absolutely horrible. And I blame myself because I started returning texts during the game. And it wasn't anything really even concerning the Penguins. Just started doing a little bit of business in the third period. Like Randy wanted today, can you come in today? So we got a nice plug. He's like, hey, the podcast you and Josh do, it's so great. And then we got a nice plug on DV. So that was good. As always, he's a big fan, the morning show. But I will say this, first 2 periods, it was a miracle. Gino looked like 2009 Gino. Carlson looked like Ottawa Carlson.
Huh?
Then, third period, Muse looked like Sullivan. Letang looked like bad Letang. And Brunick looked like Ryan Graves. I swear if Dumba plays that game, we win that game. Because I'm now convinced, hey, if you want to tank and you want to be in Corey's lottery to somehow win, which I love how Pursuit goes, yeah, that's what losers want when they can't face losing. They're hoping for a lottery pick. I feel the same way. F that effing lottery pick. But if you want to lose, then play Brunick, because I think he looked really good against the AHL. He has looked overwhelmed now every time after he took his break. Josh, your thoughts, because he just got run over twice.
I still think his future is bright. You can see the talent that he has, especially when he has the puck. But in the defensive zone, he's been a train wreck. Let's be honest, the last 4 or 5 games, really. First few games, he looked fine. And all of a sudden, his play started to decline, and it's never really picked back up. There are 2 trains of thought. Some people will say you brought in Dan Muse to coach a teenager because that's what he does. So you want him around Dan Muse. There's another train of thought that says, well, watch him play. He's just not ready. And I understand both sides of that, but you can't have him play every single night. No. If you want to win right now, that's clear. His play has declined. And by the way, Joe, and you guys can feel free to disagree with me, I thought Owen Pickering was even worse than Brunick last night.
100%.
And I think he's been a colossal disappointment. And I think if he weren't a former first-round pick, I don't think he'd be in Pittsburgh right now. And I understand young guys taking their lumps, and you have to let them play, and especially with first-round picks and Pickering's still young. I understand all of that, but somebody on Twitter asked me a really good question last night. He said, what does Owen Pickering do well? And I had to think about it, and I don't think he does anything well right now, and I think it's a real problem.
What do you think? It was very apparent, Josh. It was very apparent that, once we lost, and heaven forbid, Achari goes out, and that's the end of the season. But really, Caleb Jones's injury has really hamstrung the Penguins. Yeah. I'm going to get back to my point about last night. Once they lost Achari, and if you had told me losing Noah Achari was going to end our season, I would have jumped off the Smithfield Street Bridge. But he couldn't put out Lizotte, Dewars, and Achari. to kind of just calm the waters when it was 3-2. Because it's one thing this team hasn't had in about 3 years, a line that can just go out and calm the waters from it. They didn't have that because when we all love loading up Rusty, Sid, and Gino, but then after that, there really only is Kindel.
No, it's true. And well, a lot of things are happening here with the lineup. Number one, Achari going out. Okay, that breaks up the fourth line, and that line has been really good. I mean, it has been outstanding, way better than I think anybody could have expected. So you have that. You already have Raquel out of the lineup, which is becoming a problem. And I will go back to early in the first period. Sid makes a pretty feed to Rusty. Rusty makes an even prettier pass to Philip Hollander, who can't convert into the empty net. And that was the last time he played on the top line for quite some time. He's becoming a problem because he can't finish. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he'll be a nice bottom six guy. He's not a top line player. So, okay, put the big boys together. That's fine. And we certainly saw Kindel move up to the second line center role, and he was wonderful. But yes, it screwed up the rest of the lineup. It took away that depth, and that depth has been so helpful to the Penguins. So now with a couple of injuries, you're starting to see problems.
Do you think we can recover without Raquel? Like, I mean, who fits in there? Who can we put in there that's not Gino?
I mean, the good news is Raquel's not out forever. He'll be back probably before Christmas. Boy, do they ever need him. But I don't think there's any easy answers there. Like, I think Kindel could do it. But Kindle's been so good at center. I don't know that you want to lose, that facet of what he's been bringing by putting him up on the top line. But Koivunen looks terrible to me, Joe. Well, what's going on with him? He looks so good in April. I'm not seeing the same guy right now. He gets bumped off the puck like it's nothing. He's not making plays. It's a real issue.
He does look terrible. I mean, maybe McGroarty's the answer for a minute, but I think they miss Brazeau more than anybody.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
because I think that he made that line go. I know Gino's, playing 2009 Gino, but I think Brazeau, just the way he controls the puck, plays down low. He pulls Tony Mantha into the fight. Mantha was so perimeter last night, it was scary. He makes Gino play down low. I think, and then you have a great second line. Let's face it, I think Tomasino. I mean, I don't think he's worth a bag of rocks, but I think he could do okay with Rusty and Sid. I think they need someone that is going to bury that shot, even if that's Novak. I think someone that he looked like a fifth liner Hollander last night. You know what I mean? I mean, like somebody with any amount of skill could have buried that shot. So I think they can find that replacement. But I think that line, Mantha has more pedigree, but I think Brazeau is what makes that line go.
No, that's interesting that you bring him up because I tend to agree with that. The numbers speak for themselves. The guy has been a point per game player. He has been magical with Gino at times. We have seen it. And you have a trickle down effect when you have, Brazeau and Raquel, who have been top six guys. And now you have Achari hurt. Caleb Jones is nothing special, but he's okay. So all of a sudden you got four guys injured, and as great as the Penguins have been, and they have been, they're just not in a place right now where they have the kind of depth where they can overcome all those injuries. We're starting to learn that, I think. So yeah, they've got some real issues. And then you have to consider, as great as Crosby and Malkin have been, now maybe Sid keeps this up because it's Sid. He's different than everyone else. But what if Gino's level starts to dip a little bit, as it did last year around this time after he had a hot start? That's when it's probably a real problem for the Penguins, because I think we've learned that their goaltending is not going to remain as good as it was in October. And this is still a team that's going to give up goals.
And Josh, you've been historically harsh on our buddy Tommy Novak. But I'm going to say this. I always give Novak the benefit of the doubt. I think Novak has played pretty good, but we see his ceiling. And to me, Tommy Novak is a guy on the Sharks team that loses 5-3 to everybody, and he gets a point, he gets a goal and an assist.
I think he's exactly that guy.
He's that guy. He's a second line center on a bad team. On a bad team that gets his touches, that plays against mediocre pairings, and gets enough of the puck that he's going to get some points every game.
Occasionally pulls out a first star in the game.
Like, I think he's been better the last few games compared to what I saw at the start of the season. But between he and Tomasino, like somebody's got to step up and start scoring some goals. That's the way it is. The big guys can't keep playing at this level. They're going to have some nights where they don't score, and you're going to need to win games when Sid and Gino aren't carrying the way. That's just the way it is. But I didn't think it was a terrible week for the Penguins. I know 1-2-1 doesn't sound good, whatever they were on that road trip or whatever.
Yeah,
but it was still a very nice win in Minnesota.
Great win, yeah.
I didn't think they embarrassed themselves in Winnipeg. They had a bad start, and they didn't get very good goaltending. It's not like they were skated off the rink by the Jets. So I don't think it's panic time. I do, however, think that these next few games, like if you want the Penguins to make the playoffs, if that's the goal, you can't go into a tailspin after a loss like this. And that's an easy thing to do. And you look at the schedule, it's tough. You got the Capitals Thursday. You got in Jersey Saturday, where they never play well. Then you've got home to LA, who they always struggle against. So that's 3 really tough games this week. I think we'll probably learn something about this team later this week.
Well, I think what we have, too, is we have a team that's different than the last couple of years. If you're looking for positives of how they're going to bounce back, just because you don't have the old guys. And to me, they got a taste of it. Like, they haven't had a good start in a while. So they got a taste of winning. And they're seeing how Sid reacts. Everybody's looking at the captain, and I think they could see it's infectious. I do want to.
I think they looked like last year's team exactly
in the third period.
Oh, and I think that's the absolute scary thing. And now that Chari's hurt, heaven forbid we're going to see Kevin freaking Hayes on that team.
And the first thought I had.
And if that doesn't bring you back to horse crap hockey, nothing will. I mean, my mother said last night she hasn't seen them play so fast in years. They looked like they were flying those first 2 periods. Now Kevin Hayes is going to be out there. Please, dear God, tell me they're bringing up Rose. Please, dear God, tell me they're bringing up Rose.
I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what personnel moves they make here coming up. Hayes was sitting there in the press box last night, all ready to go. I had the same thought as you, though, Joe. I just, this team has been so cohesive. The team speed has been impressive. They were so much faster than the Maple Leafs last night. I think it was very evident. I'm sure it was evident on TV. It definitely was evident in person. Hayes is not going to help in that matter. That's for sure. The Penguins need to stay healthy. I mean, Rusty almost got killed like 5 times last night. He was like in a train wreck all night. Luckily, he came out unscathed. That's the last guy they need to lose. So we will see. I think we'll learn a lot about the Penguins' mental toughness, whether it's there or not, with how they come out the rest of the week, because that was a gut punch. Like, if they win that game, and we all thought they were going to at the end of the second period, we're talking about a 2-1-1 road trip, best record in the league. Everything, the narrative's completely different. But not just that they lost, but the way they lost. It felt like last season. It felt like the kind of game that could trigger a little bit of a tailspin. So there is concern. But, Joe, I got to ask you a question. How do you feel about Ben Kindel?
I take back every single thing I said about the draft pick. First of all, Josh, I've already recanted that. No, I mean, he's got to be on the move for the Calder. I mean, are you kidding me? He takes a beating like the snake. Keeps coming back. He was going to the net like Rusty last night.
Yeah.
He's everywhere, and he doesn't just give the puck to Gino and disappear. He's right in the mix with those guys. Like when they were down 6 on. I mean, when the goalie pulled, I love his game. I love it. But the other thing that makes it sicker, maybe it's just me personally, but I'm sure you feel this too, Josh, is just in Toronto to stick it to all of the media. That all you want to hear is, oh, when's Sid going to leave? When's Gino going to leave? It's F you. We just buried your pathetic Maple Leafs and Brad Tree leaving, who wasn't even smart enough to try. Oh, we don't have to replace Mitch Marner. That clown. How the hell was he a better GM than Cal Dubas? What did he ever do? Oh, we signed Jonathan Huberdeau and traded away Kachuk. That's what he did.
It's pretty good moves, right?
Yeah, well said. No, you're absolutely right, Joe. There were so many reasons I think that game really stung for the Penguins, and I haven't seen the fans have a meltdown on social media in a while, and it actually told me like people are so upset about this game, and the locker room felt like a playoff loss afterwards. It's like that just tells you how good they've been in the early going, that people, the juices are flowing all of a sudden. So when they are, and then you lose a game like that, it really hurts. But going back to Kindle for a second, I'm glad you mentioned the fearlessness in his game, Joe. I think it was after Toronto had tied the game, or maybe it was even when they were up 4-3. Kindle had a shift. I think it was with Gino, and he took the puck. He was out wide on the right wing, and he barged right to the net, and he almost scored. I was like, whoa. Like that was kind of a Brian Rust kind of rush.
Yeah.
And you're right. There are parallels to Gensel. We talk about his hockey IQ being off the charts, and it is. And of course, we always said that about Jake. But also, one of the things that makes Jake so special is the beating that he's willing to take, the fearlessness that he plays with. And you see it in Kindle. You see it every game. He just gets his nose dirty. Even when Raquel's healthy, I would love for them to find some kind of a spot for him on the top power play. I don't know if it's possible, but you can just see that part of the game come so naturally to him. I just love everything about this kid's game.
I have 2 points on that now. I have 2 points on this. You made me think. I love having you for a week. It's the best. One is, since you brought up the second power play, or maybe him in the number one power, would he not grow with him running his own power play, other than the fact it'd just be 30 seconds? Because we know Simisanta.
That's right. Maybe. No, I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's not the worst. I wouldn't put too much on his shoulders, perhaps. That's conceivable.
And now I just forgot my second point.
Oh no! See, I gave a short answer to let you get to your second point.
I know. It's oh my goodness.
Well,
go ahead.
If you get back to that thought, I would think about, but I mean, Kindle, to me, it's funny you said the Rusty thing. I thought the same thing. I was like, that's exactly what it looked like to me. Taking it to the paint. I love it.
Corey, Joe's got his point. Joe's got his point.
Yes. Now, I don't want to say, I was thinking for a second on that one power play. Did they turn down a couple shots to see if the kid could get his hat trick? Because that always comes back to bite you.
Is that in the second period when they were up 3-0?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they were absolutely forcing him the puck. Of course they were.
I know. And I think just get another goal.
That's right.
Yep.
No, they were. And of note, I tweeted this out last night. He would have been the second 18-year-old in Penguins history to get a hat trick in Toronto. Jordan Stahl did it 19 years ago in that very building. So that was on my mind when Kindle scored the second goal. Like, man, we're going to see some history tonight. I think they were forcing him the puck a little bit. But I continue to be astounded by how good he is. And it's every bit as impressive to watch him play defensively as it is in the offensive zone. Like just watching him win all these defensive zone draws, watching his positioning in the defensive zone, the little subtle plays that he makes. Forwards that age are almost always a liability defensively. This kid, he's not a liability in any way. It's incredible how good he is.
I'll tell you what, speaking of just guys that played well last night, I thought Wotherspoon and EK were just incredible last night.
Oh, yes.
EK looked like he was playing against the JV.
And Carlson's had one bad game all year. He was terrible in Philadelphia. I don't know what he was doing that game. He was really out of sorts that night. Maybe because it was the second night of a back-to-back. That's the only back-to-back they've had so far, I think. And he did not look good. But otherwise, Carlson has been so good. And the game he played last night, I thought it was his best game of the season.
Me too.
The goal was a thing of beauty. But even aside from that, just every decision he made, he was actually shooting the puck more. He wasn't just looking for sticks. And defensively, he's using his wheels. Mm-hmm. And it's helping the Penguins defensively. I mean, this is a different version of Carlson than what we have seen the last 2 years in Pittsburgh. And Wotherspoon, I didn't know much about the guy. I'd barely heard of the guy when they signed him.
Yeah.
I have to say, he has been just solid as a rock every single night. He and Carlson work together. We said before the season, Joe, the left side of the blue line's a disaster. Well, it's not a disaster if he keeps playing like this. And if Ryan Shea keeps playing, he's been perfectly solid as well. They look totally fine to me.
Yeah, they've got one pairing that's basically a problem at this point. And that's to me what makes me positive about this team being a playoff team and not falling apart like they have in the last couple of years, is because the defense is actually, at least half of it, has been pretty consistently good. And if we see the Eric Carlson that we've seen, I like our chances. One thing I do want to get on the Brunick stuff a little bit, of him going up or down.
But that's what makes, just to get back, that's what makes last night so heartbreaking, Corey, is you got to get a loser point there.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to hang on and
I
get
thought when we
point.
held on for like, what was it? There was about 8 minutes between the third goal and the fourth goal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, we're going to get that loser point. And I was thinking about you, Joe, and you said we didn't get those last year. And I thought, oh, we're going to steal one.
Right.
You know?
And Corey, because I think that's where, like I said before, they didn't have that fourth line, which we haven't had. We've talked about this on the show for a year and a half now. That one line that just steadies everything out. And even if you say we still had Brazeau, I know if some butts are candy nuts, then maybe Gino's line could have been that line last night. But like I said, when you put everyone who's wearing everyone whose jerseys are around the arena, Sid, Rusty, and Gino on one line, then the next line, it's just Kindel and a bunch of guys about to screw it up. And that's all. And that was just it. They couldn't handle Toronto after Turner got on a roll.
Yeah. No, and I do have to say about the Toronto game, like sometimes you have to give the other team credit too.
Yeah.
That third period was the best I've ever seen Austin Matthews play. He was dominant. I mean, not just the goal, everything he did, his penalty killing, like the work he did against Sid in the faceoff dot. He just took the game over. That I got to give him some credit. That was a great player who did some great things.
Don't tell Pursuit of that. But I'll tell you, and this though, fellas, too, is, you know what? How many years? At least over a decade. Sometimes, crap game. Sid and Gino, maybe a couple henchmen just said, "Nah, that's enough. We're gonna win." That's kind of what Toronto did.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what they put Nylander and Matthews together.
And that was that.
And yeah, the Penguins could not handle them.
No.
Now, some goaltending would have helped, but the game completely changed when Toronto did that. Of course it did.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I was saying, actually, before we started rolling, you could see it. I mean, Josh, you said Jari's body language was giving it away. But when we're structured defensively and he's not getting as much consistent pressure, he's further out from the net. But once the gas started getting pressed, it was like every time they faced a shot, he just got a little bit closer to that goal line.
You always see that with him. And, they gave up a breakaway off of a face-off from center ice. You just can't do that.
No.
Like, obviously, Letang and Sid had some kind of miscommunication. Ryan Shea got tangled up with a linesman, and before you know it, the other team's best player has a breakaway. Like, you can't do that. So there's plenty of blame to go around. And like I said, I think it's very easy to turn on Jari after one bad game. And I get it, because it looked like Jari of last year. I get it. I do. He's been pretty darn good, though. Like, if you look at his body of work in the first month, he's exceeded expectations. So let's see how he responds. But that was not pretty last night. It wasn't.
I actually blame Brunick more for that game. I know Jari looked terrible, but I thought Brunick just got worked on at least 2 goals.
Yeah.
Just worked.
Yeah. And so it goes back to the question of, and Kyle, I know you watch the show. So we can all give our opinions, and you can take it from there on what you're going to do. I personally would keep him, because not only what are you going to get down in juniors, but I'm afraid that he'd get more into the bad habits, stuff that you can get away with against 16-year-olds that you can't get away with. I'd rather him learn here, personally.
Well, there's a line of thinking where I agree with that in a way. You brought in Dan Muse to work with guys like him, so why send him back 3,000 miles away? There's something to be said for that. You also don't want a 19-year-old like barely playing for an entire season, right? And the perfect place for him is Wilkes-Barre. We all know it. It's a stupid rule. It's just the way it is. Looks like it'll change next season. Thank God. That's where he should be right now. But he, as dominant as he was in the preseason, he's not that guy yet. And sometimes you can be fooled. Maybe I was fooled a little bit watching him. Like, you'd see him in these preseason games, like, he's ready. He's ready.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he wasn't ready because he looks lost in the defensive zone right now. Joe, when he has the puck, he's so good. You can just see the talent. But when he doesn't have the puck, he's just so raw.
No, absolutely. And I'm gonna say I want them to keep him up. I do. Because if he could go to Wilkes-Barre, that'd be perfect. But he can't. So the alternative of him learning his bad habits and just being bigger and better than everybody in juniors it's just a waste of everybody's time. But he needs to be protected. He needs to play with Dumba, or he needs to play with Shea. And that's just the way it is. He can't play with Pickering, who may be just as bad.
With less upside.
No, I mean,
way less.
Yeah,
upside.
I mean, at least Brunick has like obvious talent that jumps out at you. Pickering, and I didn't think Pickering was that bad last season when he came up to the NHL. I thought he was okay. He kind of tailed off his last couple of games. He looks like he's regressed to me. I don't like where his game is at all. And he's never going to be great with the puck. So maybe be physical. But he just doesn't. He doesn't use his size at all. He doesn't use his reach. You cannot get beaten in the corner like he did on the game-winning goal the other night. You can't lose body position in that fashion. So he's a problem too. And one of those two, if they're going to stay, has to play way, way better.
When Pickering and Brunick were on the ice last night, and especially in the third period, was the only time this year, maybe the Ranger game, because they made a big deal about it, but I don't remember, was I felt like the other team was just camping in front of our net.
No?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw that the way too, but it's the first time where I really thought that Jari was being backed in and they were just kind of having their way in there and just taking liberties and just kind of.
I think that's part of what pushes Jari back too. Like the less he has cleared in front of him, the more he gets pushed into his crease, and then it falls apart like it did. I really want to see Brunick stay, but like you said, Joe, you want to protect him. You don't want to put him out there with Pickering. I'm sorry, but he's got to be with somebody that's going to be steady.
No, there's no question about that. And it's not like they don't have options. Like Dumba's fine. He's not anything spectacular. Matt Dumba's your sixth defenseman. He certainly brings some physicality. He can kill penalties. He's not going to hurt you. I mean, he's not going to hurt you the way those two did last night. I think that's pretty clear. Clifton hasn't been great, but he's still, he's a veteran guy who's played in the NHL a good bit. I don't think he's going to kill you. Caleb Jones will be back at some point. Maybe he will help as well. But there's no question that pairing, Joe, is a massive liability right now. And I don't suspect we'll be seeing them together much anytime soon. I'd be quite surprised if we do.
It was a curious choice to play those two together, to be honest with you. I haven't questioned much about Dan using it. What's the question? He was leading the league in points on Saturday. But I just didn't. I didn't think that was going to work in general.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably not the best idea. One thought on on him going to the AHL, and I'm trying to Google this while we're talking, but I can't find anything definitive. If he stays, can't they then send him down to the AHL? Like if he loses his junior eligibility, it starts his entry level contract. It says here, based on the very short Googling, that he could go down to the AHL as a 19-year-old.
Maybe he could. I'm the worst person on earth with the specifics of those rules. So
just something
that's my weakness as a Penguins beat writer. Everyone, I don't.
Sorry to put you on the spot like that, but I literally it never crossed my mind until.
No, I mean, well, I guess they could.
I honestly think the way around it is you can go on like a conditioning stint if you don't play for 5 games. I think I think they can screw around and then send him to the World Championships.
That's probably the best place for him.
I could see that. I'm sure Team Canada is going to want Mr. Kindel at the World Juniors as well, and I think the Penguins should say no. That's okay. He will be staying right here in Pittsburgh. Brunick might be a good experience for him. Might be a different story.
Yeah. Interesting. I want to ask you guys a couple things after we get to Bill Neofis here about Josh. You had a great tweet about Sid and Gretzky, so we'll talk about that. A couple things around the NHL, and then also, I just want to pick your brains on Ben Kindel. where he would be in a redraft. So, but before we do that, we'll get into Mr. Bill Neofus, he's the best sponsor in the world. We love this guy. He's already probably getting ready to go to Finland. Is he leaving next week?
I hope he's not going to Finland because he's going to be in the wrong country.
Sweden.
You're getting your
Jesus.
Scandinavian countries screwed
Bill,
up.
don't listen to me.
It is only about a week from now. I will be dining in Stockholm with the greatest sponsor of them all, Bill Neofus. That is very true. I leave next Monday, in fact, so we'll probably be doing the podcast. I'll be coming to you live from Stockholm next Tuesday, I suppose. I think that'll be the plan. So yeah, Bill will be there. And for those who don't know, and by the way, I heard from Bill yesterday. Another viewer of the podcast is doing business with him now. So
great.
They're creating quite an army of our viewers and listeners joining forces with Neofus Insurance Group. So yeah, for those who don't know, Bill Neofus and his unbelievable employees at the Neofus Insurance Group, they are located very conveniently in the North Hills, and they will help you with all of your needs. I don't care what your insurance needs are. We talk about it every week. Life insurance, apartment insurance, home insurance, car insurance, you name it. Bill's got you covered. They are absolutely the best. Give our guy a call. Tell him we sent you. You can talk hockey first. 412-364-3388. It's Neofus, Neofes insurance.com. Bill's the man. He will take care of you.
Thank you, Bill. As always, we appreciate it.
Bill. I'm glad people are going and dropping our names too.
I know.
Yeah, we like
that. I love that because then they can basically be an offshoot of our podcast, just Bill talking with his clients, talking hockey. It's pretty much what it happens. I mean, you walk in there, you're going to talk hockey with Bill.
We might have to have Bill join us from Sweden next week.
That's a good idea.
Just a thought.
Yeah, just a thought.
Unless there's jet lag issues. We'll see.
Yeah.
You know, Bill's going to have better things to do than to talk to us three. He's in Sweden.
That's true.
That's good point. Good point.
Wait till it's a blizzard in January. You can drive up to Cranberry.
Yeah, I stand corrected.
That's why he's sponsoring us. He doesn't have to come on.
It's a good point. Good point. So, Josh, you had tweeted, and this got a lot of conversation going. You had tweeted that in his age 38 season, it took Wayne Gretzky 62 games to score his 9th goal. In his age 38 season, Sidney Crosby required only 13 games to score his 9th goal. I saw people all over the spectrum replying to that, saying, what are you talking about? Gretzky's the greatest ever. And then you had the people that were like, Sid's actually better than Gretzky, I think. What are your thoughts? And I know where you're probably going to go with it, but I mean, where do you think Sid stacks up against Gretzky, and especially at this point in his career?
Well, you can't really just look at the numbers because Gretzky's always going to win that one. And we can't ignore the numbers either. But Gretzky didn't age as well as people tend to remember. Like, if you look really at Gretzky after he left Edmonton, he had one or two really great years with the Kings still, but his goal scoring in particular really declined. In his 30s, Gretzky didn't score many goals. And one of the incredible things about Sid, when you're talking about his legacy, Joe, he was the best player in the league by the time he was 19. And almost 20 years later, he's still one of the best players in the league. I don't know how many times in the history of the sport that's happened. Maybe Gordie Howe. There's a couple of examples, but his longevity is extraordinary.
That might be his greatest attribute, Josh.
Might be.
As far as going up against, the Holy Trinity and his case to be fourth on Mount Rushmore, is he's done it for 20 years when Gretzky didn't do it for 20 years. Like at the top, I know he had the point per game thing. Mario for obvious reasons, and Bobby for same thing, obvious reasons. So maybe that's what he has going for him. It was just, I know, it's a different era. You can never argue with anybody about Gretzky's numbers, but Gretzky also played with like 9 Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Well, and he was in his prime at a time when everybody was scoring a ton of goals. Like, look at the league in 1982. Every game was 8-7.
Yeah. I mean, go look at Mario's first goal against Pete Peters when he's wearing shin guards for leg pads.
Yeah.
And that's what Gretzky played against through his prime. And then you look I said, I think I replied to your tweet and said, yeah, Gretzky started to suck once the goalies got good and bigger. And I don't think he sucked, but Mario was scoring 65, 70 goals against those ballooned goalies that had pads all over them.
Gretzky was still an incredible playmaker even until the very end. But anybody who thinks Wayne Gretzky was the greatest goal scorer of all time is sadly mistaken. He absolutely was not. Like I would take Mario, I would take Ovechkin, I would take Mike Bossy, probably some others in terms of pure goal scoring. And I think when the game changed in the 90s, you certainly saw that Gretzky's goal scoring numbers declined. But I mean, really it was meant as a compliment to Sid, though. He's just doing it again every single year. And Joe, I was watching him before the game last night. I was like walking through the locker room area, going to the press box like an hour before the game, and I saw Sid on the exercise bike, and he's just there on the exercise bike with the biggest smile on his face. Like you could just tell he was enjoying himself, like he's happy right now. And I actually thought to myself, man, if he stays healthy, he's going to play for a while longer. It's what he loves to do, and look at how he's playing. Why wouldn't he?
And if it's not going to be Gino, maybe Kindel is going to be his new running mate as far as having someone with the abundance of skill to play with, having a second line center. I don't know if you saw this because so many things come up online that's crapola, and some of it's real, some of it's fake. But I don't know if it's got in your feed. But I don't know if you guys saw they had a reaction to Sid learning that Gino has like a Hall of Fame little area in his house.
Oh, dude, that got me right in the feels.
Yeah, like that's basically Gino has like a bunch of Sid memorabilia at his house in Florida, and Gino was saying like, well, he's my son's favorite player and he's my favorite player, and people said like he is more memorabilia than almost any fan they've ever seen of Sid, and it's in Gino's house.
Never underestimate how close those two are. They are not just great players and guys who are teammates. They are really close friends.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That was the quote. He said, me. He basically, I'm paraphrasing. He basically said, me and Nikita consider Sid family. I hope Sid considers us family. That was basically.
And he does. Yeah. And I can't tell you how many times it's funny. I've covered the team forever. And sometimes I just remember little snapshots in my head of things that I've seen. When the Penguins play in Raleigh, they always stay in a very nice area right beside an upscale mall in Raleigh. And they were there a couple of years ago, right before Christmas. And I happened to be at the same hotel. I'm sure the Athletic didn't appreciate that. But I'm walking into the hotel and I see Crosby and Malkin and Letang like walking out together. I said, hey guys, what's up? And Sid said, oh, we're just going to do some Christmas shopping. And like the three of them just going Christmas shopping like any of us would like in a mall in Raleigh. Like that's just how they are. They in many ways live normal lives, believe it or not. And those three guys are so close. They're really like best friends. They are. And Malkin's probably the best at being vulnerable about it because that's just Gino. He doesn't hide his emotions at all, but he loves talking about those guys and how close he is with them. And it's nice to see 71 playing the way he is, by the way.
Yeah.
He has been terrific.
Could you imagine the stories on those fishing trips? Because they all like to fish. I mean, especially Sid and Gino are fishermen, I know, but you could go down to Miami in the summertime and have some stories thrown around.
Oh, well, that's why I just wanted to stick it to the Toronto media so bad last night.
Yeah, well, you'll get another chance to December 23rd.
And I can't listen to anything now for 3 days because I just need. I literally started watching the NFL Network last night. Like I gotta take a breath.
I even saw after they tied the game last night. I turned around in the press box. I see Dubas kind of sitting there like with his head in his hands. Like you knew what he was thinking. Like, oh God, you know that one's a little extra personal for him when he goes there.
No, because like on DV, like, oh, did you see the Twitter exploded? I'm like, no, I shut off my phone and I literally put my phone away and I just watched the NFL Network. Like, no, I'm
it's like reminds me of after the Super Bowl 45 loss. I couldn't think of anything to do. And my dad goes, what do you want to watch? And I said, how about Contact with Jodie Foster? Has nothing to do with sports. Complete detox from the sports. I don't know if you guys are like that, but I got to do the same thing, Joe.
I've never thought of anything about Jodie Foster other than the Bad News Bears.
Hey, there's sports there.
Yeah, no, exactly. Hey, it's a great Walter Matthau, not whatever the new one is. Yeah, oh, that's great. Kelly Link going to see the Rolling Stones. That's one of the greatest movies of all time. Bad News Breaking Training 2 is a great movie. When they go in the Astrodome, that's good stuff. I don't know if we're jumping right. I just want to get this out because I sent it to Josh because and they do it at the studio right there. I don't watch. I listen to it, but it's a Jay Caulfield's podcast. And they had the immortal Ronnie Franchise on last week, and it was a 2-parter. And in one of the parts, they said how right before he was inducted to the Penguins Hall of Fame, he got inducted into the Italian Hall of Fame in Detroit. And I want to thank Ron, Pittsburgh Italian. I want to thank Captain Ron, standing tall. I loved him. He was always, him and Kevin Stevens' number right after the Big Four, always 1 and 2. I love him even more now.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know that he was Italian. So
how great is that? Though?
I believe Ronnie and Artie both have Italian mothers, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're both part Italian.
That's why they got big shoulders. They go in the corners.
But we'll get the Steelers here in a minute. But another thing I wanted to mention to you guys. So I've been posting this on Twitter, and people I'm getting a lot of Sharks fans liking it, so they probably think I'm trying to crap on Gavin McKenna. Just tracking McKenna versus Celebrini because they're both 17 years old playing NCAA, and so far through 10 games, Celebrini is far outpacing him. I'm not here to talk NCAA hockey. I'm bringing that up because I started tracking that due to how good I think that kid is. Joe, I know you probably get to see a lot of West Coast games while Josh is writing. But Josh, I know you get to see a lot of Macklin Celebrini. This leap that he's taking, he's got 18 points already. I mean, I don't know. I'd take that kid over any of the young people that have come, young players that have been taken first overall.
Oh yeah, Joe, I suspect you feel the same. I would take Macklin Celebrini over Connor Bedard all day long, and I think Team Canada's crazy if they don't take Celebrini on the Olympic team. I'm sure they will. He's pretty special, isn't he?
I absolutely love Celebrini. When I was still living on the West Coast full time last year at this time, I was watching so many Sharks games. He reminds me of LeCavalier. He's got a witch gene in him.
Yep.
He's a big guy. He's got the Fresh Prince on his wing. I hate saying that because I hate the famous Fresh Prince with a passion. I love watching him play. And it's funny because, all the Canadian media that I mostly hate, most of them, how can Mark Scheifele be left off the team? And blah, blah, blah. Mark Scheifele is a fourth line center compared to Macklin Celebrini. One guy's a star and one guy's in Winnipeg.
It's funny you say that, Joe. It's funny you say that because when I was leaving my hotel in Toronto to cover the game last night, I had the TV on to a local hockey channel, and they were talking about if Mark Scheifele should be on the Canadian Olympic team. And I just had a chuckle and kept walking because nothing against Mark Scheifele, but come on. And Celebrini, I mean, great kid, by the way. He played with Sid at the Worlds in Sweden. Don't be shocked if those two were on the same line in the Olympics.
You know what, Canada? Pick Mark Scheifele. And then when Terrible Tommy runs his ass over, don't come crying to me. I'm sorry. When a Kachuk, I screwed up my countries. When a Kachuk brother runs his ass over, and Terrible Tommy's at a bar in Ontario, don't go crying to me. Yeah. They were fools not to take Tommy. Well, we can't handle the Kachucks. Yeah, because you didn't bring Terrible Tommy with you.
By the way, before we get to the Steelers talk, it occurs to me, we last recorded this podcast last Monday. And that means we haven't talked since the Penguins and Flyers played. And Joe, I want to ask your opinion on just what happened at the end of the Penguins-Flyers game, and in particular, the behavior of one Trevor Zegras. I was thinking about you during that game. Your thoughts on Mr. Zegras, Joe?
It took him 3 weeks to become a puke creamsicle. That's how long it took to dress next to Garnett Hathaway to become a yellow spine punk. That's how long it took. I mean, Really? Are you kidding? You know what? And I'll never hate Talkett, but it's like it's no good him on that bench. It's no.
No.
He couldn't have been pleased. I know he likes a little messing around, but I mean that's just being a punk. It's Garnett Hathaway crap. You know what? Because they got Delorier to back them all up.
Yeah, really, Rick Tocchet never did punk things.
No.
I mean, like that's the thing that.
No, when Nolachari got up to confront young Mr. Zegras, he didn't seem so mouthy at that moment.
He got really
did
quiet
seem
all of a sudden.
to use the linesman as a bit of a buffer. And I believe it's first week of December when the Penguins return to Philadelphia. I have a feeling that one might get interesting as well because the Penguins were not too thrilled with
I
Zegras'
love it though.
behavior.
We haven't had the Penguins and Flyers like this in a while. It's been a minute.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Dubas, if you're watching, Boko Imama.
Damn right.
That's
Have
all
him
I can
play-
think about during that.
Yeah, have him play with Sid and Rusty.
He'll go to the net.
They should just get Boko a hotel room in Philly now just to get him prepared for the game 3 weeks from now.
I think we know what we need to get Joe for Christmas. A Boko Mama jersey.
Maybe a signed Boko jersey.
Yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
And he,
How about just a Boko Imama? Just give me a game. Just give me a game sheet with him playing 13 minutes with 19 penalty minutes on it from Philadelphia.
it was
That's
one
what
of my,
I want. That's what I want, Dubas.
That was probably my favorite moment from last season when he took the run at Hathaway. Remember, he blindsided Hathaway, knocked him out. And after the game, he said to me, I asked him to fight 3 times. 3 times. I wanted to fight him with honor. And he kept saying no. So I took matters into my own hands. Oh, I love it.
Was that one of the most obscene end of games? I mean, it took like an hour. I was late for I didn't go on stage for like an hour, and the crowd was so mad. I'm like, this game is not ending. Put somebody else. Put more people up. It was like crazy.
Anybody?
Yeah, it was because first of all, when Gino always leaves early. You going to call that? But then they don't call a penalty. Then they review the offsides. And then the fight at the end, though, I guess it's not the NBA. You know, David Stern's not running the league. Remember he suspended Tim Duncan in the finals for leaving the bench. Sid left the bench. They didn't say nothing. Thank God.
By the way, the Penguins were absolutely furious that Sid was not allowed to participate in the penalty shots in the shootout. And the way they explained it to me, because I said to a couple of people in the organization, like, he did leave the bench. Are you a little worried? And they said, no, because the game was over. It doesn't matter when the rule really doesn't apply when there's 0-0-0 on the clock and the ice crew's on the ice.
Yeah.
So that was the explanation.
Yeah, if there's people with shovels on the ice, I think Sid's allowed to go over the bench.
Well, you know what was funny about that was just that morning, I said how maybe it's time to move away from Gino on the
penalties, yeah.
On the
shootout, whatever.
Shootout, and then Gino's the one that scored.
Barry's one.
Yeah.
It's like,
what are the odds?
They did look into Minnesota, though, fellas.
Hey, Minnesota was a great game.
It wasn't a disastrous road trip. It was, 1-2-1. That's not great, but it's nothing to panic about.
They'll be fine.
Let's see how they respond.
And Joe, I want to tell, just because I do talk about the lottery, and it would be great to get, don't get me wrong, it'd be great to get Kevin McKenna. But I wrote about it on 2fortalking.com, where some of Joe's and I, we write some articles and post them up there. You can actually get all the links to Josh's articles right on 2fortalking.com if you want them all curated for you. It takes you right to The Athletic. But I said, Joe, I want whatever's going to get the Penguins a Stanley Cup as soon as possible. So it might be the draft, but with the way they've been playing the first couple of weeks, I'm sitting there going, like, with a crappy Eastern Conference, you get Sidney Crosby to the conference finals. I like that. I'm okay with that.
You're getting a little ahead of yourself, Corey.
I am, definitely.
Losing begets losing. Look at everyone. Ask everyone who's been in the lottery. When's the last time they won? Ever since they started the lottery, who's been in the Stanley Cup other than the Penguins? I don't think anybody.
No, it's true.
The one. I mean, but
McDavid's the only other one that's really been there that was like a big lottery winner. And
the only guys who have won the Stanley Cup first overall picks in the last 15 years were Aaron Ekblad and Nathan McKinnon. Yeah. So it's not a guarantee when you get that top pick that you're going to go win a Stanley Cup. It's not. That is something to keep in mind.
It would more of these Ben Kindles. We're gonna get to the Steelers, I promise. But I did ask. I want to hear both of you guys. Does Ben Kindle in a redraft scenario look like a top 5 pick? Like, I know that not all the guys that were drafted are in the NHL at all right now, but how could that kid fall to number 11? Like, it seems pretty inconceivable to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's so early. And obviously he's a little more precocious than some of the others. A lot of people were wrong about Ben Kindle. I actually saw a guy who was a kind of a quote unquote draft expert in the press box in Toronto last night. He said to me, I've never been more wrong about a player. He said, I thought he was like a late first round guy, and just watching him here tonight, like, oh my God, this guy is unbelievable. So he just fooled a lot of people. He didn't fool Wes Clark. He didn't fool Kyle Dubas. And the Penguins are very fortunate for that, because he just looks like he's going to be a good one for a really, really long time.
Yeah, I was wrong. I don't want to jinx him. You can, and I will plug the. It's so funny because I was so distraught. I was supposed to write my pro hockey news column last night. I thought, oh, maybe I even started early, like Josh. No, didn't do it. And now I was gonna just blow the Penguins for like the first half of the column about first month of the season. Everyone's playing above what they're expected to be. Muse is, Ken Dryden. I mean, Muse is Al Arbor and everything. And now I got to change everything around. But but it comes out a day earlier on the Two for Talking podcast. So
Absolutely.
Little plug for that. But no, but I wanted to say about Kindle. But it's one season. It's one season. They look at guys, all of a sudden this guy is he's 6'3", 6'4", and he'll be there in 5 years, and we'll see if Kendall with his body type survives. I sure want him to. I don't want to jinx him. And now we have to get Pursuit on, because he asked us to bring him on, and now I've mentioned his name 3 times. But it loathed him to tell me how good the Michigan center is doing.
Yes,
it loathed him, and I guess he's tearing it up. But
yes.
I haven't seen
Barkov. He's got like 9 goals in 9 games, I think.
Yes.
Yes, and they're
Michigan's number 2 in the country.
Yep, number 2 in the country.
Who's number 1? Michigan State.
Yep.
Penn State number 3.
Penn State's number 3, and I'll be honest,
They
it's a
haven't been that
soft
good, though.
3.
Yeah,
soft 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. There's a lot of good help on the way, and I'm like I couldn't be happier with where the Penguins are, and I think Dubas, hats off to him. A lot of people, like you said, Josh, in your article, you said it wasn't the greatest July of 2023, but he probably would admit that behind closed doors.
Sure.
But
ever since then, he's done some good things.
I love the way that they're identifying players and picking players. So I'm gaining confidence every day with them.
Yeah. Fellas, I just want to say, I think that Mr. Dubas, I said he had a great summer. He had a great summer. But if somehow Bros or Avery Hayes is not on this team this weekend, and Kevin Hayes is, it is an absolute regression.
Yeah,
it's a regression. We can't be going ahead with that man.
No. I think we're going to see him in pinches when he's absolutely needed in a pinch, but
probably.
So the Steelers this weekend did. If you've been watching the Steelers under Mike Tomlin, I mean, some of you are smart like me and you bet on them. Some of you can't take the black and gold out of your blood, and you bet for them against the Packers too, even though you knew they were going to lose that game. You knew they were going to lose against the Bengals. And when everybody counts them out and the quote unquote number 1 team in the league shows up to Acrisure Heinz Field, Mike Tomlin pulls one out. And I have to say, can we live and die by the sword of the turnovers? Like, it's a turnover. They only had like 225, 230 yards of offense.
Yeah, it was, I guess, a classic Tomlin victory. When the Steelers are underdogs at home, they have a pretty good history under him, indeed. I had a lot of people tweeting at me, don't hear you bitching about Austin and Tomlin this week, Josh. Like, well, no, I'm sure I will soon enough. But listen, it was a great win. It was. The Colts are killing everybody. You turn the ball over 6 times against them, you did something right. But my takeaway from this game, Joe, like, it's just the NFL. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, like, get killed in Atlanta one week and then they beat Kansas City the next week. Like you just don't know. I don't think the league's ever been more evenly matched, which makes it fun to watch because you don't know who's going to win or what's going to happen. But I don't think any of these teams are that good, and I think the Steelers are right there in the middle with everyone else.
It was a great win. I'm going to take full credit for it because I was at a memorial for my father on All Souls Day where they read 190 people died and everyone had to go up and light a candle. It took almost the whole game, but I had the game cast on my phone. And when I turned around to say hello to a couple people, they all thanked me for having my phone out so we could keep track of the game in church for 2.5 hours. I had to be there for my mom, but I went back and watched it. My sister was at the game. She said the fans were like, the stadium actually looked full for the first time in a long time. It was a great win, and it gives them a little bit more breathing room.
Yeah. No, and I like your sister was right. Here we go. Whoever drinks whenever they listen to our podcast, drink. But I took my kids to their first Steelers game on Sunday.
How did you?
And I was really nervous because I'm like, this might end bad, and it didn't look good in the first quarter. And Joe, like you said last week, and I agree with you. I think Renegade is overdone, but I know my kids wanted Renegade to happen, and I have to say it was one of the louder Renegade. I mean, it like the stadium. We were in the lower 5 rows of the upper deck, and you can really feel it swaying. And I was like, okay, like it was a good crowd on Sunday. So hats off the Steelers, and even though they had a funeral happening in the parking lot for the Steelers defense.
Yeah, I heard about that. That, by the way, those are crap fans. Whoever did that, like, that's kind of lame. No, listen, I give the Steelers credit. I think after the 2 previous losses, it's like, all right, they suck. Same old. They showed up. They beat the best team in the league. Like that doesn't happen by accident. And I'll give Tomlin credit. He obviously had them prepared, and with no safeties healthy. That's not easy. We'll see what happens against the Chargers this week and beyond. But it's interesting that Baltimore is still the odds-on favorite in Vegas to win the division.
So weird.
And they're only 2 games behind the Steelers, and they played twice, so I get it. That's still a lot to overcome, though, in the NFL. And I'm curious to see how the Steelers fare moving forward. And one thing that we talk about every week, Joe, Aaron Rodgers, even though he wasn't great on Sunday, he's just consistently good still every single week. He's their MVP.
And the fact that he does not get rattled. He doesn't point fingers like Dan Marino used to. Finger pointers never win big games. I know, that's one thing Ben always positivity.
Great about
maybe
it.
packs away. I mean, that first play, because then I topped in the shower. We got to go. Was that first play when Janu, whatever the hell his name is, when he was open by like 40 yards on the one, play that they actually thought up that wasn't, hey, throw a screen pass, it ain't going to work. Hey, run the ball up the middle, it ain't going to work. But one time they actually used it like a computer to figure a play out. The guy dropped it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And Aaron didn't he didn't do anything. He just like, okay, let's try again.
It was about to get ugly real quick in that stadium. And I was trying to think about why, because like they haven't been great for a handful of years. But I think it's because Steelers fans are seeing Aaron Rodgers and going, oh, we have a guy again. Like we have the guy that can do it and win playoff games. Please, everybody else, get your shit together.
That's true. And, Rodgers clearly, I'm sure he wasn't happy with what he was seeing from the defense against Cincinnati and Green Bay. But from everything I hear, he's been very even keeled all year. Everybody respects him. He's kind of rallied the team a little bit. And we'll see. All is not lost. It feels like anytime the Steelers lose, we all have our own personal meltdowns. But they're in first place. There's not really a dominant team in the AFC at all right now. I don't think they made any big moves at the trade deadline. A lot of teams did. I know people will be unhappy about that, but we'll see. And as long as Rodgers keeps playing at the level he is, like they're going to have a chance in every game. He's not going to let them just crumble. I really believe that.
Yeah.
One thing I got to say though, because Corey, you just said they see we have Rodgers. Obviously, everyone sees that. Then what are you doing when on first down you throw that screen pass on first and goal at the 10? Have we ever been throwing the screen pass that ever worked? We never have. Can't you just let Rodgers rear back and throw a slant in the end zone like every other professional quarterback can do?
Yeah, and like that throw that he made to Freiermuth or hit him on the back shoulder,
Yep.
like let him away from the safety. It was a thing of beauty. I mean, it's just like watching that guy go into training camp, now watch him in a game. I'm like, yeah, he's the real deal. Like,
no, I just
one of the best
appreciate
all
getting
time.
to see him play every week. You know,
Right.
he's obviously an all-time great, and it's just cool to see him with the Steelers, and they're still in first place. All is not lost.
And I liked Ramsey at safety, and Joe, your buddy Randy on the DV Morning Show, kept making this analogy. I liked it, where he said it was almost like whenever they shut down the Fort Pitt Tunnel, but then traffic moved better around it. And he's like, by necessity they did that, or so he's like made some analogy like that, where all of a sudden Ramsey's there, and he lays the boom down, and all of a sudden everybody kind of filled in. They were filling their gaps. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, like they contained him. Like I expected 3 touchdowns from Jonathan Taylor.
Whatever they did on Sunday, I think they need to keep doing it. I will simplify things myself. I just listen. It was the best offense in the league, and they shut them down for the most part. I mean, no, that's.
I mean, I will say this. Not to throw a cold rag on the fire, but I mean, when they have 7 turnovers, 6 turnovers, won by 7 points.
No, there was a just like the New England game when they had 5 turnovers and only won by I think a field goal or a touchdown. Yep. Oh no, there's still issues. Although that game, like it was 24-7 in the fourth quarter. And they went into the prevent a little bit.
I had to teach my 10-year-old what that meant, because I hate but he goes, why are they giving up all these passes? And I said, they don't have enough time to come back, But then we still had to recover an onside kick, and he's yelling at me like, why are they kicking an onside kick? I didn't think they had time to come back.
I'll tell you what, too, Roman Wilson, for a Michigan guy, it seems like he went to Ohio State. He is the brains of a dodo bird.
Yeah. Yeah, we call that community college, Ohio State. It's not great. I love him. I think he's a great player, but he's just kind of getting out over it. He's making rookie mistakes. Boy, that fumble.
Yeah, that wasn't the appropriate time for that.
No.
We're jumping over. So what's he? I mean, it's just stupid. I before we leave, I want to make a baseball statement. Because see, I vow never talk about baseball, because I never talk about pirate baseball, but I can talk about professional good baseball. And that World Series Game 7 was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I mean, 4 times. It's like Toronto won. And they didn't, from 4 miraculous plays. The double play, the home run from the guy that hadn't had a hit in a month.
The catch in center field.
Yeah, the catch in center field. It's so ridiculous. And we couldn't even really enjoy it here, because all I saw on my timeline was a bunch of Pirate fans whining how it could never happen in Pittsburgh. Oh, see, if there was just the 2 expensive teams, you know what? Don't go to the games. Don't watch the games. Don't cover the games. Make Major League make him move the team. Make him sell the team. Because when you pretend they're a real team, it's like pretending professional wrestling's real. It insults my intelligence, people. It's like, go to the game. If you want to go to the game, have a hot dog. Pretend like you're watching your uncle's softball team. But they're never going to be a real baseball team. Just admit that and let everyone else just enjoy the World Series.
I couldn't agree more. I saw that on my Twitter feed as well. It's like, we don't need to talk about the Pirates or Bob Nutting tonight. Let's just
appreciate a great World Series.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. It was unbelievable stuff. Great theater. It truly was one of the best baseball games I've ever watched. It was incredible.
It's funny that my thought with Bob Nutting was, thank God we have him, because I don't know if I could recover as a Blue Jay. If that happened to the Pirates, what happened to the Blue Jays? Like, I don't know if I'd be ready to watch baseball come April. Like, I'd be sick to my stomach.
I could not agree more.
You were in Canada, right?
People in Toronto are not in a good mood these days. I mean, there were some seriously depressed people, and I can understand why. That was a brutal way to lose.
Well, we sent them Tristan Jarry.
That's a nice gift.
Nobody can circle the wagons like Tristan Jarry.
That's right.
Well, that'll do it for us on the Two for Talking podcast. Next week, we will have Josh out in Sweden.
Yes.
Not Finland, hopefully.
Sweden.
And Joe will be somewhere in the country.
San Francisco.
Joe will be in San
All over
Francisco.
the
Holy
place.
cow, we're going to be covering the whole globe.
We got time zone issues next week. This is going to be a wild podcast next week. I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys as always. Hopefully the Penguins right the ship, and I have confidence. I think this team's going to be fine, and we'll talk to you next week.